Hi, Virgo. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for November of 2022. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julia Mijas in San Francisco, California.
Well, hey, Virgo, this month's skies mostly affects your local neighborhood happenings, your communications, and your home life. For general guidance, you can enlist the help of a natal and transit reading. You'll find a link to help you do that in the text that comes with this video. Well, Virgo, my first piece of good news is that Juno, which has been traveling retrograde in Pisces, has gone direct and is done with that. It's been a sometimes very difficult relationship retrospection period that lasted 3 months since the end of July. And it's hit you in your own relationship house. And so that probably led to some disruptions in your relationship, but it's going to be smooth sailing now going forward. The other thing I want to tell you about is Jupiter. I'm having a nose tickle. Jupiter is in Pisces here in your 7th house, and wherever Jupiter goes, there is luck and opportunity to be harvested. Jupiter has been traveling forward into Aries this year, but has backed up into Pisces just now and will be going direct this month. And so this is really the time to harvest the last bits of relationship luck that you may be experiencing this year, which are a kind of a carryover from last year. So if you haven't found somebody new to be with or haven't had a renaissance in your own relationship, now is absolutely the time to put yourself out there and to have adventures and fun with your partner and bring growth and expansion into your relationship. Hey, Julia, I know that you have news about Mars retrograde this month. What is that stuff?
Oh, I sure do. Hey there, Virgo. Mars is the planet that rules our activity levels. Wherever we have Mars is where we tend to be very driven. Mars is also a planet that rules anger as well. And Mars is actually retrograde right now. Many people have heard of Mercury retrograde because it's a very frequent cycle. It happens about 3 times a year, but less people have heard of Mars retrograde. But I find Mars retrogrades to be a bit more significant because they happen every 2 years. And anytime a planet is retrograde, it means that from our perspective on Earth, it appears to be moving backwards in the sky. We know that this isn't actually happening in our solar system. We know that all the planets are always moving forward. However, it is an optical illusion. Now, Mars is going retrograde in your 10th house. This is a house that represents your career, your mission in life. It also represents your public reputation, as well as authority figures. An authority figure is anybody who tells you what to do. Sometimes that can be your parents, sometimes that's an employer. And if you run your own business, maybe you have to deal with a government official, for example. So this retrograde cycle happening in your 10th house, this might be a time where you run into a lot of frustrations with the authority figures in your life, and you might have to sort of take back some of your actions or some of your words too, because it's happening in the sign of Gemini. This can also be a frustrating time for your public reputation. Maybe there's some rumors out there that are making you really upset because Mars is a planet that rules our anger. This is a time to be a little bit more patient with that kind of stuff, or else you might have to take back some of your actions or even take back some of your words. And if you are applying for jobs, you might need to, don't be so impulsive, which is another Mars word, in how you're applying, because again, you might have to you might want to have a second chance to kind of go back over things. Now, Mercury, the planet that rules our mind, starts the month in your third house. This house and Mercury have a lot of overlapping meanings together because both rule communication, both have to do with travel, short journeys, such as your commute or going on a day trip or a road trip. And the third house can also be your siblings and neighbors. So with Mercury in the third, this can be a time where if you're working on a writing project, you're getting lots of writing done. It can be a time of increased communications with the people that live near you or your local community or people in your family like cousins or siblings if you have any. And on November 8th, this is a very important day because Mercury is going to be exactly conjoined the sun. We call that Greater Epiphany Day, and it's a time of insights and revelations. So in the third house, you could be having some insights, some aha moments into your writing. For example, if you are working on a writing project. Also, these insights and revelations could be about your local community. It could be about your neighbors or even family members such as siblings and cousins too. Then on November 17th, Mercury moves into your fourth house. This house is very domestic. It rules your home. It also rules the past. So with Mercury in the fourth, this is a time where you really might be preoccupied on things that happened a long time ago, really thinking about, musing about your past in some way. It could also be a time where you're strategizing or where you're particularly preoccupied with your home life. Maybe you're thinking about your current home or the next home you want or what you can do to improve your home, for example. Then Venus, she's kind of following a similar path as Mercury this month. She's starting in your third house, again, that house of communications and siblings and short journeys. And with Venus in the third, this adds a little bit more diplomacy and harmony and poetry to your communication. So really nice for the first half of the month. If you do have to get writing done, this is a really good time for it. And Venus also adds a little luck and harmony in your relationships with your siblings and neighbors. Maybe they do something to benefit you in some way, but it definitely adds a lot more harmony to those types of relationships. And it's a lovely time to take a pleasure trip, just get in the car or go to a local park or a local beach, for example. Then on November 15th, Venus is going to enter your fourth house of family, home, and the past. And she's in there a couple of days before Mercury does, but Mercury catches up with her pretty quickly. So for the second half of the month, there's a lot more concentration on your home environment and your family. Venus in the fourth house is a really good time for getting along well with your parents and other family members. It's also a great time for doing anything to improve your home, to make it more pleasurable. It's also a bit of a couch potato transit where you're just enjoying being at home so much, maybe cooking, maybe watching TV, maybe, doing things around the house that you're probably not going to want to go out so much for the second half of the month.
Yeah, quite possibly true. And that's fine. Just decorating. I want to tell you about the two moons happening this month. The first one is a full moon in Taurus, and that happens on November 8th, right up here in your ninth house, which is a house of growth and expansion. It's also a house of opinions and assumptions, especially when poised against the more rational and logical third house. So when there's a full moon like this spanning these two houses that have to do with communication, you can get into some pretty big arguments where you may have an opinion or a belief or an assumption, and you feel really strongly about it. Or you're facing somebody who has, an opinion or an assumption that they feel really strongly about. And then you're trying to balance that with the logical, the rational, and also the diplomatic and social. This is an eclipse. An eclipse is a time when we are forced to look at our shadow. So this could be an embarrassing transit where you're kind of embarrassed at how emotional you got about that, how resistant you were to the other person's ideas, or how you tried to press your ideas on the other person despite their resistance. So watch out for these things around November 8th. The next thing that happens is we have a change of seasons. Of course, as the month begins, the sun is traveling along through Scorpio, your third house. And then towards the end of the month, on the 22nd, 23rd, it moves on into your fourth house. And a lot of the energy and attention of these planets gathers right here in your house of home and family, domestic life, heritage, and roots. Bringing emphasis to this arena. And Julia's talked about a couple of these things. Mercury here bringing your, making, home be the thing that preoccupies your mind. And Venus here, you may want to be social in your home. And these things are true. But as the sun moves through any given house, it's like it's asking you to pay attention, to bring the light of consciousness, of awareness, and the sunlight of like cultivation and thriving. So paying attention to your home life and your family members is a great thing to do as long as the sun is passing along through this house, which it's doing for about 30 days beginning on November 22nd. So this will carry on into next month. Then right away after the sun moves into Sagittarius on the 23rd, we have a new moon right here in Sagittarius in your fourth house. This one we're calling the wisdom of foolish hope. It has so much hope and positivity and bounce, this moon does, and it's pouring all of that into your home life. So this could really be a wonderful moon for improving relationships with family members, bringing a lot of joy into your home and into your family circumstance. And it's particularly a really great moon for manifesting, for putting a hope, a wish, a dream, a fantasy out there and pouring powerful feelings into it so that it can come about. And if you've been longing for home, maybe looking for a place, maybe wanting to grow and expand something about your home life, this could be a moon that really, really supports that. Well, that's what we have for you today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can find out more about this month's moons and Mars retrograde on our website, pandoraastrology.com, in the forecast tab. And on the website, you can book a reading with us or take a class. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.